What does the future hold for the Corkscrew Regional Ecosystem Watershed? What changes might a visitor find upon returning to Crewe after a 10-year absence?
The Crewe that I would like to see 10 years later wouldn't look that much different than Crewe is today. It would definitely be a lot of green space, which is already there.
But Crewe serves two masters, protecting and nurturing the watershed, the land, the wildlife, and making sure the public has access to use and enjoy that land. So the goal is to protect Crewe, not just preserve it, to make it accessible but not abuse it.
10 years down the path, I would hope that there would be more public access. That 60,000 acres is open to the public. However, there's just limited access areas into that. So there would be definitely more access points, there would be more hiking trails, and there would be more compatible use, recreation.
Bonita Springs Mayor Ben Nelson would like to see his community become the future gateway to Crewe.
To me, it just made sense that that we were the gateway to the Crewe. We were the closest place that you could actually access a Crewe at. Why wouldn't you become the gateway to the Crewe?
Bonita Springs, it would be a perfect location to do gateway to Crewe.
One area that seems ripe for expanded public access is Bird Rookery Swamp, where a new parking area has been built off Immokalee Road. Abandoned by cypress loggers decades ago, old logging trams wind an 11.5-mile loop through the swamp, creating ideal hiking and biking trails.
I think that Bird Rookery Swamp is a gem. I think it is a gemstone within the Crewe project.
That returning traveler could also find a larger Crewe 10 years from now.
We hope to, in the future, to be able to acquire some additional land to continue to grow and protect the resource out there at the Crewe.
That may prove easier said than done.
This is the best time to buy land because it's cheap and it's readily available. There are a lot of people wanting to sell land. It's the worst time to buy because economically there's very little money to do so.
With dark clouds gathering on the horizon, future land acquisition and improvements at Crewe became problematical. Mired in an economic funk, voters railed against high taxes, and government at all levels hunkered down in a belt-tightening mode. That included deep budget cuts for the Water Management District.
There's no question that this will bring to a screeching halt the momentum that has been established over the past some 18 years with regards to acquisition of land within the Crewe area.
These are tough economic times, absolutely very tough economic times.
Mindful of economic realities and shifting political sands, the Crewe Trust turned to the public to expand its membership and volunteer base and to get people out to experience the land firsthand.
That volunteer aspect and the membership aspect, I think, is critical for Crewe to continue to be able to sustain itself and grow. And we're trying to completely wean ourselves off to being dependent to any of the government agencies for funding and make that the gravy funding rather than the core funding.
You will continue to nurture that. You will continue to expand opportunities to the public, because it's one thing to buy land and it's another thing to open it up to the public, because you want them to get in there. You want them to fall in love with Crewe, and when they fall in love with Crewe, they will protect Crewe in the long term.
Tough times raise tough questions. Could future legislatures and administrations see Crewe as a cash cow and be tempted to start selling off land to raise money?
I feel certain that the public outcry from that, number one, would be such that they're not going to, they couldn't get away with that.
One would hope that sounder minds will prevail and recognize the value of the Crewe lands to the region.
And that's why it's so important for groups like the Crewe Land and Water Trust and groups that are trying to protect our environment never to slack off and say, okay, we're done.